Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Oh, we have sound. Wow. Love to see that. Thank you. All right, so we'll open up this meeting at 7:06. Welcome, everyone. It is our combined July board meeting for our study session and our voting meeting. So without further ado, I would ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So there's two sections of remarks. I'll wait until voting, if that's okay, and we'll just move into our presentation. Is that okay with you? Sure. By the way. Okay. Mr. Engen, you have the floor.
Push the button to green.
It is now. Oh, now you, everybody. Should I hold it?
Yes.
Is that better?
And for all of those at home, Mr. Dan Engen will give us an update on the design and engineering phase should we move forward with the project for the high school.
Thank you. Will it? Okay. Great. Before you, I just have a few pages and on the update of the progress of the project for the additions to the junior senior high. And a little bit of a look forward also, because we have some things coming up that we'll be asking you for agenda items in the preliminary phases as we go through the project. So this meeting in July, where we are today, just some of the activities that we've been working on. Building field measurements, we'll have a team coming out here next week to be able to do final measurements of the existing building to verify that the drawings that we have are correct. We're doing a pre-final code, internal code review, and wall system review of the requirements for the project addition. We have mechanical, electrical, plumbing, preliminary design. They started work on that this week, or this last week. And then structural engineering is working on a preliminary structural frame for the addition. This month, I'm asking you for the approval. I know we've been working on the schematic design phase, but you really have never really authorized that officially, and so I thought we should probably do that pursuant to what we talked about at our last meeting. Coming forward into August, currently right now we're requesting proposals from 3 land surveyors, 3 geotechnical engineering companies, and 3 civil engineering companies for those particular services. So there's a survey that we need of the existing conditions on the site. That's the land survey. The geotechnical proposal is for test borings in the location where the addition is preliminary planned for. So that will tell us, no matter what size or what you build in that area, that'll tell us for sure what is under the ground and what the foundation system will be required. And that makes a big difference as to the final cost of what you determined to build. And so we'll get those results. They take a little bit of time. So we will have those for your first meeting in August for discussion and then approval subsequently. And then civil engineering, there's civil engineering, NPDS permitting, county permitting, and everything like that. Civil engineers do on your behalf. That'll be also a separate proposal. This is pretty much the same way we've done all of your projects. We've always gotten proposals from the engineers and giving you options, and then the board has selected the ones that they think are the most viable and the best interest of the school district. You're not required to select the lowest fee proposal. So we'll be here to give you our analysis of their responses to the proposals and our recommendation. But there'll be good companies that we're used to working with and are used to working on school projects.
Before we continue,
yes, sir.
For the community's sake and for the board's sake, these beginning phases, the July, August, and September, all of these phases, we also already have the money currently in our accounts, I guess I should say, in our capital reserve, because it's already earmarked for capital improvements, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so we're not taking out any additional monies. We're not spending monies that we didn't already allocate to look into this phase of the project, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And the numbers should be relatively in line with what I told you earlier in the spring, predicted for we call these soft costs of the project. So when we get those proposals, we'll just confirm against my guesses as to what those would be.
Okay.
So we had an idea already.
And so theoretically, as well, for the community, as if we did all of these pieces of the project but realized that we didn't want to go forward with it and actually contract out with the general contractor or put bids out, or we realized that it wasn't feasible because, you know, the hill over there just wouldn't be, wouldn't actually hold the facility and things like that, that would be okay. That we're
Absolutely.
not tying ourselves into an actual project where we're committing $10 million.
You can stop at any time. And this is just the design phase, and I'm taking you through multiple approvals. Step by step, we'll go together. And so if you look in September, I'm calling that the 100% schematic design phase. We're close to being done now, except for engineering is behind. But I wanted to give us a little bit of time because I want to do another cost estimate to give you our opinion at that time. And then we'll have more information, and then also the approval to go to the next phase, which is design development, which we'll do design development similar to what we did in schematic design, just more advanced, better drawings, and then another cost estimate. So you continually get those updates as to what our projection is for the project's cost ultimately construction-wise and total. So we'll go little by little, and every month we'll give you a little bit more information.
Okay. And I guess one more question too. I think for the community's sake as well, is there anything else that we could be using these earmarked funds in capital improvements for that we already haven't done improvements on our buildings currently?
I don't think we
And
have
that
anything
can
scheduled.
be an administration question as well.
Currently, in terms of when we assess infrastructure with programming, this would be our next sort of proposed phase with the cafeteria and the windows being done over the summer. This is sort of the next item on the list.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, unforeseen costs that may arise that we can't, you know, lightning could strike or, you know, something could happen. No, I'm
The
nuts.
reality is, and realistically, I knew the answer. It's no, but I wanted us to say that for the community, because we have had these discussions previously, wherein we've done a lot of capital improvements over the at least 5 years that I've been on the board, even longer. And so I wanted it to be known to our community and our public that this is just our sequential pattern, I guess, or next step in that process, and it's not necessarily that we're going to be like taking away funds from another project that we were desperately wanting to do or what have you.
Can I ask a quick question? The land survey proposal and the geotechnical process, do you need to execute the items that you have bulleted out in July? So the field measurements, the code and wall system, the mechanical and electrical engineering prelim design, structural, do those need to occur before you do land survey and geotechnical?
No, but we have to try to get to your schedule at the end of in the spring for bidding.
Yeah.
Potentially, we have to keep moving.
So it's only a schedule component, because when I
Right, they
read,
layer on top of each other.
got it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I read this, regardless of schedule on the next page, it feels like you do the land survey and the geotechnical now.
Yeah.
Be able to just
I really wish
say-
we would have had those 2 months ago, to be honest.
Yep.
It'd be a lot easier.
Got it. Okay.
So we're playing a little bit of catch up.
Yep.
But luckily, the addition is very targeted and small.
Yep.
And so I feel fairly comfortable, but
Okay.
of course, I don't know what's under the ground.
Thanks. Yep.
Two quick things. So one question more for you, Dan, was regardless of, and like the end materials used, all of this has to occur regardless of whether we go with the original proposed design or something slightly different, or, so it's not as though we need to do something different if we say, oh, we want to change the design and have less of this or more of that.
Right, let's
That
say we
won't change.
choose more masonry or more panels or a smaller footprint or whatever.
Yeah.
It still would have to do all
All
of
these
these things.
steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of the actual final design or
Yeah.
materials. Okay.
Would not be wasting any money, and I'm trying to be relatively careful about it, but there's, the survey is something that needs to happen, and this, a good example is when we did the survey, we did a micro survey for the roadway link, and I wish we would have done the whole campus. We had a price to do the whole property, but it was cheaper to just do that road. We wouldn't have to do it now if we would have just done it
Yeah,
then, and we would have
right.
that information. So I'm just recommending, we don't have a survey of your actual property, the way it stands today, with all of the changes, and NPDS is requiring that we have to have everything workable and when we submit. So it won't be a huge cost to do that.
But it's good to have it regardless.
It's
and
good to
yeah,
have it. It's
right.
gonna be good for any other thing that you
Future
do also.
things, right.
Yeah, parking lot changes, sidewalk changes, all those things.
Yeah. And to your point earlier, Antonio, like in terms of from my history on the board, like we always have had a 5-year, a 10-year, a 15-year, planning in terms of capital projects, in terms of whether they were regarding bonds or not, or, just sort of what are the next big things, that we need to prepare for, whether it's an HVAC system or a cafeteria or whatever, So I think that's pretty typical in terms of planning.
What is the shelf life, I guess, of the schematics, right? If we decide not to go forward with the project come bidding time and we decide to shelf it, how long are these plans, I guess, good for?
As long as we're around, if you waited 5 more years, let's say we finish the documents and you decide to bid the job to find out how much it ultimately really cost, but then you didn't award to contractors, you would have everything done and ready to go. You could always do, wait 2 more years or something along that lines. Everything would be done. We'd have to update the specifications for products maybe,
Right.
if they change, and then you'd have the cost of rebidding. That would be the only difference,
Okay.
which is about $3,500 to advertise and a little bit of our time to manage it.
Okay.
So that has happened before. So.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's a really good example of that.
I just want it to be known for the community that, like, us looking into it doesn't lock us into it, and that it's not also a waste for us to look into it and to gather more information about what next steps could look like, versus actually pulling the trigger to, start construction tomorrow. Because I think that that's I know that it was a big community point last month, and I know that it will continue to be as we continue to have these conversations. So it's just like paramount that the community understands that this is not binding us to actually moving forward with the project. It truly is getting information.
But in theory, though, it would be allocating money and spending money for a potential future.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we're setting
So
ourselves
we don't know what
up
that is, but
at some point.
it is an investment.
Right.
Because that money could go somewhere else if we really wanted it to, or not spend it at all. Right, so this is a little bit of money.
It has, I
Exactly.
was gonna say, it has to be a capital project, so,
For some other capital project
Yeah.
in 5 years, sure.
right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, what we're doing in this case isn't locking us into any particular
Yeah.
structure or layout or.
Right. And when we say
Good thought.
capital project, it's a project that is enhancing our buildings. So it's not monies that can go towards education or something else. It truly has to be for the enhancement of our facilities. So that's also key to hone in on there.
these are different budgets. You can't mix and match capital budgets with salary budgets or, whatever. It's not like you can say, oh, well, we're not gonna do a building, we're gonna hire 3 more people. Well, that's not, it's apples and oranges. They're different budgets, so.
In September, I will have some scope options that we'll have to work together on to decide what we think are best directions. So that's a good kicking off point, because we'll have a little bit better budgetary numbers and then some options for you to chew on a little bit. So there'll be a lot of that coming up here in the fall. On the third page is just a update on the schedule. Essentially describes in graph form what I'm describing in word form. But I wanted to make sure that everyone saw a bigger picture. And you have seen this before. It was slid around a little bit. But essentially the goal is to get to the spring and to get to going out for bid time, which means getting the drawings completed and the decisions made for what goes in the building additions and the modifications. And so what is that scope on paper, and then getting to that bid point in a timely fashion so that we could receive bids in enough time to be able to award to contractors and give you that option to starting construction in the summer and not missing next summer. That's a big thing. So I'll try to keep us going in that direction.
We've asked Mr. Engen to just be here every month to make sure that he's keeping everybody apprised of what's going on. We have, voting and approvals throughout the process so that it's every month, on the month, and everybody's clear on sort of progress and what needs to be done and the costs.
Yeah, and for the civil engineering proposals and everything, the first meeting in August, my partner Tim will be here instead of me. I'm on vacation that week. So you'll enjoy him more than me. Anything else for me?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay. Moving right along, we will enter into our first hearing of the citizens. At this point, so at all of our meetings, we have multiple hearings of the citizens. Technically, our agenda tonight has 4 of them by accident, but we will only do 2 if that's okay with everyone. So we'll enter in our first one. This one will be for any items that are on the agenda, both the study session and the voting meeting. I will ask that you come up, you state your name and say your address, and then please remember that comments are refrained to 3 minutes, and typically the board does not respond to comments but takes them in for information in future governance. However, I would also remind you to remember that your comments are recorded. All those who wishing to speak, please come up and do so.
I guess this is still on, right? Okay, Sylvia Sullivan, 139 Oak Meadow. So regarding what you guys were just talking about, the money going towards other things like capital improvements, what happened to the other phases that you said you needed with like the classrooms that needed updated and the locker rooms? I mean, is that money could maybe go to that if we're not gonna do the addition? And then I don't know if you need to do those surveys and all that, because I don't know how that works, but like the electrical probably and all that you probably still need. But I'm just thinking about like, is all that necessary to do those things? Because you said those things needed to be done. So is that part of capital improvement? I don't know if he left, but anyway, just a thought, because I thought that was in the proposals as something that did need to be done for the school, right? So just a thought that the money could go to that if we're not going to get the bonds and do the big renovation, because there is still stuff that needs to be done. So just an idea.
Sophia Leisure, 631 Maple Way. I know I've talked a lot in the previous meetings, and I don't want to keep, beating the horse, so I'm going to keep it probably nice and brief. I have talked about a lot in the past how, as as a youth that goes to this school, how we can all benefit from maybe a big multi-purpose room. I know I talked about choir not having a big enough space, and it being moved to the band room that has now caused some scheduling issues, which has caused more issues. And with that as well, I talked about Mall to UN in the past, how we host our very own meeting and stuff for across other schools, and we're gonna get more people, so it's hard to fit us all in the cafeteria. And when I had spoke the first time, I got a lot of positive feedback from all teachers, which I have to say thank you guys also for being so welcoming as a youth. I feel like I'm being treated with respect and as an adult, so thank you guys so much with that. But going off of that, I had heard from one of the teachers that told me that they have a hard time for National Honor Society. It took them days and days and weeks to find a date they could do National Honor Society in the big auditorium room, because it was used most of the time, 25% of the time, because of musical, if I'm not mistaken. And to me, that's it's one of our biggest events, and I feel like we proved that we could benefit from a large just room in general. I mean, if we've been talking about it for so long, and you guys have even identified it's, an issue, I feel like it should be act on it. But the one thing I will say, honestly, is the fact that, we've been talking about the multi-purpose room a lot, and the price about 10.9 million, multi-million project. I haven't really heard much on how we can I haven't heard about grants. I haven't heard about much of anything to keep it down. And maybe that's because I haven't been at all these meetings, but I feel like looking at a 10.9 million project and not hearing other possibilities being rolled out on how to make it cheaper in some way, shape or form, some things with the esports room, there's grants for that, and also for HVAC systems and solar panels and stuff for the multi-purpose room. There's also grants for that. Just ways to get cheaper. It's I haven't heard that, and it's honestly hard. You know what I mean? And the reason I feel I'm persistent on this is because if this doesn't go through, I just can't see I can see all this being forgotten about, a big room and everything, and I just don't want to have that happen. So I hope you guys take that into consideration, and thank you guys.
Thank you, Sophia. Anyone else willing to speak? Please keep in mind that we'll also have a hearing of citizens at the end of our meeting for all school-related items. So if you can't or don't want to speak now, you can feel free to speak at the end as well. Going once, going twice, sold. Okay, moving right along. We will now move into potential motions for approval for our voting meeting from our business and finance. We'll have our Director of Finance and Operations, Ms. Sheila Lubert, take us through those.
Thank you. I have 5 items for approval. I have change order HC002 for K&K Mechanical for an increase of $781.84 for the cafeteria project. I have draw collective bill construction administration for the cafeteria project in the amount of $12,699.47. I also have an invoice from Draw Collective for the high school schematic design for $30,000. I have pay app number 1 for Merit Electric in the amount of $34,650 for the cafeteria project. And I have a capital purchase request for approval for signage update to Riverside Park and the cafeteria project in the amount of $12,193.77. Do I have any questions or concerns?
I have a few questions about the last one. So the signage is a combination of items for the cafeteria as well as the lower part of the scoreboard, it sounds like.
Yes.
I guess I'm wanting to understand, like, it's hard to follow in the estimate, just like what's what, and sort of what it includes, what does it look like, is, obviously the cafeteria I would assume is more permanent, is the scoreboard stuff temporary, like what, I guess, do we have mock-ups of what this all looks like?
Yeah, I can send those to you. One is just a commemorative sign for the lights underneath the scoreboard. Second is Riverview Raiders on the back side of the field box. Also, some of the decals that they installed on the side have been damaged, and so we need a more permanent solution other than the decals for the side of the field box, especially close to the ground where people can kind of poke into those. So just kind of reapplying with metal or aluminum in those places.
Is the commemorative sign temporary or permanent?
Permanent.
Permanent, okay.
Permanent on our scoreboard. And then for the cafeteria project, it's only for the smooth walls, not the cinder block walls, as a part of the cafeteria project, just for,
Like to update what was there before.
yeah,
essentially?
Riverview Raiders and, food.
Yeah.
you
If we
know.
could see like a mock-up of what that looks like, that would be great.
I can send you those
And also
tomorrow
just to
morning.
be mindful of like the different contractors, making sure that they're adhering to the brand standards in terms of color and like
Oh, yeah.
font and all that good stuff, because I know we've had issues with that in like the gym where we've got 3 different yellows and golds with different folks using the wrong colors when they should have matched, and not to our fault, but just that stuff happens. So when we're using different vendors, to make sure that these things are consistent. And
They all have our branding guide, so.
yeah, I know.
it
I mean,
should
I know
be-
that
It should be at,
folks had it before too, and
Mhm.
mistakes happen, obviously,
Yeah.
but just to make sure like we're reviewing that stuff to be sure that everything's the right way before
I'll
it gets
send
applied.
the mock-ups to you tomorrow morning. There's, there still could be some slight changes, but you'll get
Yeah.
an idea of kind of what that looks like.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Additionally, per Mr. Engen's request, someone will need to make a motion to approve another motion to complete the schematic design phase under this portion of the agenda.
When we get to voting.
When we get to voting, not to exceed $93,000 is the cost that he's shown on his presentation. You have part of that bill that was authorized at the last board meeting that's on the approval, that's the $30,000. So it's the 30,000 of the 93 that he would like approval on. Thank you.
Okay.
I just have a general comment, and I know that I've harped on this before. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to stand a little bit more firm. Tonight I will vote yes for this Draw Collective invoice, but in the future, if they continue to be Elena spending 117.75 hours on architecture and architectural design at $155, that leads up to an $18,000 expense for the district, without any detail as to what the heck those 117 hours are for, I'm going to start voting no. It's unfortunate that he left before I got to actually get to this part, but that is again, it's just crazy to me. I think I would be, I said this in our executive session, and I'll say it here, I think I would be suspended or disbarred possibly for charging a client $28,000 without no reprise as to what that $28,000 accumulated to, but for the hours that I spent, and that I spent it on as a construction administrator and an architect. That's just, it's mind-boggling to me, and that's a lot of money to ask us to pay. So if he cannot get us a more detailed invoice, I am going to start voting no, and I'm going to encourage my fellow board members to do so too, because I think it's a detriment to our taxpayers' dollars that we're not being given information as to what we're spending money on. We see labor, parts, all those things on like a car invoice, but not on our Draw Collective. And that's nothing towards you. It's nothing towards you. I know that this is not our administration's doing. I know that I've said this plenty of times, and I know that you guys have tried to convey this to them, and I think that they think that they're giving us detailed invoices, but this is lackluster, to say the least.
These two individuals are consistently on site. They meet with us in the offices, Alina and Rob. Rob is here every week on site several times a week, meeting with us for job meetings. We meet in the same meeting we have executive in. So I personally spend time with both of these individuals doing walkthroughs, working with the contractors that are here currently. This is all the cafeteria.
No, and I don't, please don't think that I don't doubt that this work is being done. I don't think that you would ever actually put an invoice in front of us to ask us to pay that for monies that aren't actually being earned. What I'm saying though is, from a historical standpoint and also as stewards of our taxpayers' dollars currently, I currently can't tell our taxpayers in our community, let alone even just the rest of the board members here in our administration, what these funds went to pay for, let alone for me and Jen being the only two that have been on the board for almost 5 or more years. You have turnover for board members. We have 5 of us up for election next year. If all 5 of us don't rerun and or we don't get reelected, 5 new people come in and they see an invoice in the past for $28,000, they can't tell you what it was for because it's not detailed. That's my issue. It's not to say that the work isn't being done, but on an invoice, it would be nice to see meeting at high school, X amount of hours, meeting for this, X amount of hours, travel to and from, X amount of hours. That's what an invoice would look like. And that's what I have, I literally give this to my clients day in and day out. I can't get paid without that.
But not every profession does that.
No, and I get that, but we're spending taxpayers' money. I'm not spending my own money. And
Yeah,
you,
we all know that.
I don't
so
think we're asking for too much.
I don't think it's a lot.
I don't think the request is obscene in terms of like detailed. I think it can be super high level, like Antonio just mentioned. How many hours were you at the high school? How many hours were you on site? How many hours when you were in office? What were you working on in the office? I know technically in this area, they don't enjoy doing that type of detail, but I think there can be some. This is, especially if you don't have any idea as to who those people are or what they're doing. I think there needs to be a click down or
think-
two.
I agree that, we use Draw Collective for a lot of things, and so I don't discount that they're doing all of these hours in some way, shape, or form. It's just,
Right.
I don't know names or titles or what, like that's fine.
Okay.
Like if that person is a whatever, like that's great, but I guess it would be helpful since we are working with them on a lot of different projects to say like, this was meetings about the
Hours spent on this
cafeteria.
project.
This was something where we had to go look at the windows at Werner. This was something where we were looking at the land survey for the potential renovations. Just like details like that would be helpful because historically you'd be able to look back and be like, oh, okay, these are a number of hours that we spent this summer versus stuff we were looking at for the
Okay.
future.
And I would also just argue too, that when I hand a client a bill, if there are things on that bill that they aren't okay with and or agreeable to, there was work done and performed at a certain point that they did not agree to, or something like that, we don't even know that that's happening. We only are getting 117.75 hours in 59.5 hours, right? We don't know what the work is being done for, to Jen's point. So then at the end of the day, we couldn't even go back and dispute this number because we don't have any other information other than the numbers that are just presented in front of us, but no accompanying detail.
Okay, I'm going to ask a point of clarification here, just so as you can probably notice, more and more detail are being provided in draw. So we have gone to them, we've asked for additional detail. Can you guys give me a point of clarification of exact things that you want me to ask them to provide so that the next time they provide a bill, it will meet or exceed your expectations. So I just want to give, or maybe we could put it in writing exactly.
A
'cause
sentence or less, but it should detail every activity. I should be able to go through every single activity, put them on my own Excel spreadsheet and add them up as if I was the person entering them in, so that I could actually see that, one, it equates to the amount that's being charged, and two, it's also work that we authorize to be done, right? It's not, oh, I called this contractor just to see what's up, or I called this contractor to see if they would be even interested in this job, right? We're not even at that phase. So how do we know that what the work that they're doing is work that we're authorizing? Especially if we're being so detailed with every month, us approving a next step to a phase of a potential project. It's just not giving enough detail. So I would just say, like I do usually, email to opposing counsel regarding X, Y, and Z. Short and sweet. It's not a whole sentence. It's not something that needs to be drawn out. We don't need paragraph descriptions, but travel to and from Riverview High School for cafeteria construction meeting. Construction meeting with the Director of Finance and Operations at Riverview High School regarding cafeteria construction or regarding next phase.
Yeah, like the two that I'm looking at here, I guess there was one invoice that just says the S182501. That one says just capital improvements 2026. So in my mind, I'm like, that could be anything. I have no idea. You know, like, but then the second one says junior, senior high school additions 2026. So obviously that one gives me more specifics around, okay, that's for potential design and development, construction documents, et cetera. You know, like that's broken down more. So that one gives better info. I think it's the ones where we just have like a name and a title, X number of hours with like no detail and no specificity around what project it was. It could be a combination. I realize these people might be working on a few different things, but then maybe just like was listed, you know, cafeteria meeting, addition meeting, you know, whatever it might need to be.
Okay, I'm going to tell them to watch the video of this meeting.
I'm happy to
Take in
send
that
you a
information so that, you know, I just want to.
I think they'll figure it out, to be honest.
I bet you they're already entering it
They
in,
have
to be honest.
It says like 117.75.
Right.
So.
You're not just getting that number.
When you say, need to click down or two of like detail, there you go, you got it.
They probably have that. It just may not be generating on the invoice.
Got it.
And that's what I realistically think is happening, is that I have to track my time so vividly like that, and there are plenty of softwares. I bet you that
Yeah, I just want to make sure that this is a close, and you know, I know that it continues to come up, so I want to like sort of close the book on it so that you are feeling like you're getting the information you
my biggest thing is, it's just, like I said, $28,000 here, but then we're asking for $30,000 as an upfront to go forward with the next project.
I get it, yeah.
What if we didn't really owe $28,000 and we had that to go into the next phase of the project, right?
Well, especially when you compare it to the item in the agenda on the previous page for $781, right? For the change order, the juxtaposition between those two invoices is kind of insane, right? Here's one for
this.
thousands of dollars compared to
this.
that.
Make your own. Travel, meeting. Whatever. Have their own.
I'm sorry, by the way. Is there any,
It could be I mean, maybe I'm not giving, obviously I haven't given them enough detail so that they're providing you.
was previously, but it's still not.
Still has a ways to go.
Some of
I
it's
made the
there,
request
but not
every
all.
time.
I know you do.
Yeah, it's okay.
We appreciate it.
We got it. I think, like I said, you can watch the video and you'll have plenty of information to take in for the next time.
Is there any other questions for this agenda item? Comments, questions? Cool. Moving on to a discussion and review of potential motions for approval for the voting meeting with agreements, contracts, and resolutions. This will be presented by the Director of Finance and Operations, Ms. Sheila Lubert, and our Superintendent, Dr. Neil English.
Okay, we have two agreements and proposals for your consideration later this evening. One is the agreement with William McKinley for the soccer facility. I know that we discussed last year having that, having that agreement be a little more detailed. This is what we have for now. My recommendation is to approve the initial one, and I'll continue to, beat the drum to try to get some, some safeguards in place in terms of that contract. Second is a proposal for iPads. This is a 3-year lease and lease to own. This is a part of our tech plan for our one-to-one initiative in the district. Any questions or discussion?
I will tell you that this is not an okay contract. As a parent, as a board member, as a soccer parent, it's not.
Yeah, this is not a contract. This
It's
is
a
like, you
paper
might as
napkin.
well have put it on a napkin and
Mhm.
scribbled something and said, here, $800, because it has no detail whatsoever as to like, what are we getting for $800? What are they required to mow the grass? Like,
I don't even care about those things.
anything.
I want to know about liability. It says
We-
all organized groups must show proof
No.
of insurance,
Well, I
but
know who he is.
who is insured? And do we have to cover William McKinley on our policy because we're using their facility and we're keeping them foul-proof of any wrongdoing or incidents that go on? If our students get hurt, can they sue William McKinley technically because it took place on their property, or are they?
Do we not use it already?
Oh no, we do.
We've been
Do
using
we
it.
have a,
this
We've
is-
never had a
this is-
good contract.
So we
Got it.
we have a draft of that contract. We had Mr. Muscanti, create that. We pressured them to try to sign that. This is what we have so far. I will continue to pressure the borough manager to have them sign the more detailed document that we put in place that has the, some of the
I mean, there's
legalities that we need on
just
behalf of the
a general,
district.
so do we have access to this field from August 1st till October 31st? Does that mean we can lock it and no one else can use it? No. There's not a restroom facility. There is an AED. That's great, it's on the side of the building, but there's no shelter. So if the kids are there, there's nowhere they can go if there's a storm. It opens us up for a lot of issues. The field is never in optimal condition to be played on. We've had to, when we had Twin Borough games, we had to mow the field before a game because it hasn't been kept up. So until there is some teeth as to what we're getting, all we're getting is a piece of field that they're getting $800 and not having to do anything. And we're putting on our kids on a field that
boys soccer, girls soccer?
Everything,
everybody, boys, junior high, girls,
Practice.
everything.
yep.
And it's been
When does practice
historical.
start?
It's gonna have to start soon because they're not gonna.
First,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Now, guys,
You
we,
want
we
the
need
field by
we
then.
need to use the
We've
athletic
always used
facility needs to use the field.
Yeah.
So
We need to
that
use
it's
the field.
time sensitive.
I don't disagree, but it just comes back to we keep having the same issue. And thankfully, right, we don't have issues with our kids being hurt or some type of liability and or legal suit against the district. But it doesn't mean that it won't happen.
I just think we need a better option. I know that I understand the situation between Creekside
Yep.
and McKinley, who runs those. I like the field conditions. I know all the ins and outs about it. I think all of those options, by the way, are not good for the school nor for the community, just being super frank. So, but we don't have any options. Like, maybe this is a discussion for later, but there's gotta be a better option for us to put
If we're-
students on a field where it's safe environment. I love the point around if there's a tornado where you're gonna go seek shelter, you're not in McKinley.
You
You're
gotta go
barely
on.
at Creekside.
Yeah, and cribs is not an option, is it not big enough?
Cribs is-
Because there's
No.
Not big
bathrooms,
enough.
I didn't think it was big enough, but I was.
I mean, we've used McKinley for years. Both my kids have played on it for
I
a decade.
mean,
And I'm not
yeah,
saying-
we've used it since
It's,
I've been here.
but it's been in poor condition since 10 years ago, and we've had like no contract, and we've tried to get them to make like a real contract to say, this is what we're getting and what you're providing, and just mow the grass every now and again, maybe, like, or provide a porta potty at least, or something. And it's really bad. So I don't feel like this is a contract that we should be approving.
No. It is, we're in a rock and a hard place, but it does come back to, for me at least, liability. I wouldn't be an attorney sitting here and saying, oh, yeah, this looks good to me. I would never sign this for myself.
I guess the question is, if there is no contract to sign, where do the students practice?
And that's the issue.
We don't have an answer currently.
I think it's time to get creative then, because I don't feel comfortable sending my kid there again. And maybe there's a bathroom, probably not. One time they started the season, there wasn't a bathroom for 2 weeks in. There's no water source, there's no, I mean, at Creekside, there's a bathroom, there's a fountain.
There's at least a structure.
Listen,
There's a structure that, I get it. I get that we're in a rock and a hard place, but
I understand your concerns, other than just, there's certainly other fields around. There's no off-season, there's Pisa, but those are gonna come with transportation, other sort of, budgetary needs. If that's something you want us to look into, we can look into that. Like I said, as an action step, I can try to get them to sign we send it to them. I can't make anybody sign anything that, they're not, I'm doing my best to try to get that in place. If you want me to, at the discretion of the board, look into other options that are further away and provide those options to you, I can do that. But currently, there's no other option in terms of, a place that's close by that the kids can use that's not going to dip into transportation and additional issues.
who, I need to hear this again. Who owns that piece of property? Not the building, not the parking lot. Who owns that piece of property?
Penn Hills.
So why are we signing a contract with McKinley Community Center if Penn Hills owns the property?
Penn Hills, I think, owns everything.
Then I want to talk to someone from Penn Hills about this piece of property, not McKinley Community Center, who supposedly doesn't own this piece of property.
They just manage it.
It could just be a subsidiary.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So
That's
my
fine,
other-
but what I'm saying, and I no one seems to be hearing it, I want to talk to someone above this to say, we keep signing a paper contract for a piece of property that is not being kept up to any standards, and we're signing just handwritten, it's literally handwritten, with a couple phrases at the bottom.
It is.
Okay, cool, but I don't feel comfortable saying, it is, like Antonio said, if someone handed me this and said, I'm gonna come do work at your house, here you go, I would say, no, absolutely not. What am I getting? And what do you expect of me? None of that's written here.
We
Again,
could have been liable many times over the years.
yeah, I think
There's
we're
been
just
injuries
dodging
there
a
that we
bullet.
could have said were their fault.
And especially if it's a borough, right? It's Penn Hills. It's not.
Yeah, well, I think that they manage this property as a separate under a separate entity, under a separate umbrella, which is part of the problem here.
They should also want to be.
Show me the
I
umbrella
don't
with the insurance
disagree.
policy.
I don't disagree. I'm not an elected official there, so I'm not putting myself out on the line regarding that. But I will agree, I think that we need to authorize administration to look at other options while we also authorize the administration and our solicitor to lay it down for all entities involved at McKinley.
And I don't know why I do want to go back to this really quickly. I don't know why transportation would be on the district when on most of our sports, all of our practices for sure we're not liable for transportation because we're a walking district to begin with. I mean, cheerleading, band, football, soccer, no one's getting bussed down here to come to those practices.
Right, but those are
So-
on our property. They're not at somebody else's.
Those are in our
facility.
towns.
That's not our property either. We rent that. This would be the same. This is
Those are in
no
our
different to
towns.
me. We rent this just like everything else, and I do believe that most
the
parents are
proximity.
transporting their kids to McKinley, right? You are transporting your kids to those practices, and I have a feeling to most of those games. So I think taking transportation out of it, I think makes it a little bit more realistic if we're providing something that's actually
I mean,
sound.
the fall is historically challenging for practice space because you've got multiple fall sports, and no offense to anybody on football, football tends to soak up the majority of the field's time and space for fall. And so all the soccer teams, junior high, high school, boys, girls, rec, Twinboro, whatever, tends to get the hodgepodge of McKinley and Creekside and wherever else you can find. Last year, when the field was not ready from the U.S. Open, we had to rent space at no off-season to have the girls' soccer's first scrimmages and games over there because there was nowhere else to have them.
And so
Now,
maybe-
granted, we didn't have to pay for that because the USGA said that's on us.
Yeah.
Sorry, your field's screwed up and it's not ready yet and whatever, so they had to pay for that. But maybe we need to start budgeting for the fact that in the fall, we have a lot of teams that need to use one field.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of ours, but not really.
And I was going to say, and maybe the football coaches and soccer coaches can get together to figure out how to optimize field usage.
They
right,
have.
With our athletic
It's just, you can only have you've got band, football, and
you
like multiple teams
There's
all
like
using
two
one
fields,
field.
basically. There's like a whole
Not
entire
really.
football field behind the football field. Like there's that whole second part where jav and shot put and all of that is. Like clearly you're not going to be in the shot put or jav cases, but you can still be right in front of them. There's still grass right in front of it. So can we put
It's too small, but also you've got boys and girls, all the soccer teams, and football, all practicing basically at the same time after school.
I
Like,
get that. I'm just trying
You
to
can't have like
With
6
the-
teams
with
at one time.
With the lights, does it help with practice?
It could, but it doesn't help us right now.
right.
Yeah.
That's
August is,
September, October is,
yeah, potentially September, October, but right now-
eventually it will.
Yeah, but not right now.
Because you can have practice at 7 o'clock if you wanted, or something. But right now, most of these practices are like 3:30, or whatever after school. And I know as a parent who's had to shuttle kids to McKinley and Creekside and wherever else, like it is this weird, scheduling thing to try to make it work.
Okay,
So-
the recommendation from the athletic director is to have access to McKinley. If there's no access to McKinley, let me provide some action steps in terms of what I need to do to try to look at some alternate locations. We can go down the path of the more detailed document that we created last year and put some pressure on that, and I can report back to you accordingly.
Does Penn Hills want to sell the field?
I don't think so, but that is an assumption. We can ask them.
Yeah.
right.
I only need it for a couple months, though.
Is that reasonable for you in terms of my action steps? Are you all in agreement in terms of?
I think if we get more kickback that we're not gonna sign anything else, to me, I think it's reasonable to say, who do I need to talk to next? I don't wanna be like, I need to talk to your manager, but I'm I wanna talk to your manager stage.
Well, I've talked to the borough manager.
Okay?
As
I would
well,
say, let's
so-
start there and
Okay.
say, this is not acceptable any
I
longer.
will reach out tomorrow.
And I will also, as an aside, say thank you to Kim for, and Sheila, if you had a hand in this as well, negotiating these ample prices and stuff like that for the electronics, because looking at them, they're amazing.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. Any other questions or comments for our lovely administration?
And please don't take any of this against you guys. This
Yeah.
has just been like a
No.
problem.
Thorn in my side.
Yeah, I don't take it personally. I just need direction so that I know, I want to meet your expectations. So I just wanted to add that as a point of clarification.
Okay. If there are no other questions, we'll move into discussion and review of potential motions for approval for a voting meeting under personnel, which will be presented by our superintendent, Dr. Neil English.
Okay, we have a number of new hires for your consideration. Teacher, custodian, we have a para, and some long-term substitutes. The names will be presented during the voting meeting. We also have some coaches and volunteer coaches for baseball and basketball. And we have the resignation of a long-term sub and coach for your consideration for this evening. Any questions?
again, thank you to our administration for knocking through these new hires, especially an ELA teacher. Next item is a discussion and review of potential motions for approval for the voting meeting under education, which will be presented by myself. We have one item for consideration. It is for our Director of Finance and Operations, Ms. Sheila Lubert, to attend Ed Spaces 2026 conference, which will be in Kansas City, Missouri. It'll be from October 27th, 2026 to October 30th, 2026. Are there any questions, and does Ms. Lubert want to say anything additional?
I applied and was awarded a scholarship to attend this conference.
Well, so it's cost neutral to
So
the
it's,
district?
I had to buy a flight, but I waited for them to go down. It was like $226.
Okay.
Acceptable.
We love that, and thank you, at least for trying and also going to these conferences. It helps us. Are there any other questions for Ms. Lubert? Okay, seeing none, moving right along. We will now just have a discussion and review of potential motions for approval for our voting meeting of our board meeting minutes. This would be from our study session meeting minutes from June 1st, 2020. Oh, actually, let me pause. This will actually conclude our study session portion of our meeting and now move us into our voting portion of our meeting. So at this time, 8:02, we will start technically our voting meeting. Okay, can we do a quick roll call?
It's down.
Oh, is it?
No, we're down. It's down here. We're up here still. We haven't done a second hearing.
Oh.
We have to do the meeting.
Oh,
that we're gonna-
sorry, I lied. One more piece. So it is so it is the discussion and review of potential motions for approval for our voting meeting, our board meeting minutes, study session meeting minutes from June 1st, 2026, and our regular voting meeting minutes from June 8th, 2026. Does anyone have any questions, revisions, comments from our June meeting and those minutes that pertain to them? Cool. Seeing none. Now, are there any board comments currently before I end the study session? Okay, now seeing none. Sorry about that. Now we will move into our voting meeting. Our voting meeting. But first, can I have an adjournment for our study session?
Siri, so moved.
Chaparro, second.
Perfect. Now we can move into our voting meeting at 8:04. Cool beans. Okay, I will ask for now a roll call at this time.
Ms. Chaparro?
Here.
Mr. Kennard?
Present.
Mr. Gahed?
Here.
Ms. Jacobs-Rohan?
Here.
Ms. Metzger?
Here.
Mr. Paris?
Present.
Ms. Schutz?
Here.
Ms. Siri?
Here.
Mr. Smales?
Okay. At this time, I will ask for a motion for the approval of our meeting minutes. Again, those meeting minutes are from our our study session meeting minutes in June 1st, 2026, and our regular voting meeting minutes from June 8th, 2026. Do I have a motion at this time?
Schutz, so moved.
Thank you. there a
Siri,
second?
second.
Thank you. All those in favor, or are there any comments? I didn't think so. Thank you all. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And all those who abstain? The ayes clearly have it. Sorry about that, everyone. Bear with me.
Never mind.
Moving to our approval of the treasurer's report. I will ask for a motion for approval of the treasurer's report as presented at this time. A, the general fund from June 2026, athletic fund from June 2026, the capital improvement fund from June 2026, food service fund from June 2026, student activities fund from June 2026, PA municipal real estate collections, no report for June 2026, MBM delinquent real estate collections, June 2026, Keystone collections earned income and local service tax collections, June 2026, and general fund approval of bills, Fund 10, June 2026. Do I have a motion at this time?
Chaparro, so moved.
Series second.
Thank you. All those in, are there any questions or comments for our treasurer? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And all those who abstain? Okay. The ayes clearly have it. I'll move into remarks for this evening. We'll have remarks from myself and Dr. English. Welcome everyone again. Thank you all for coming. I hope that you're enjoying your summer. I hope that the district is enjoying their summer. I know that we have a lot of projects and a lot of things going on. I know that our staff is truly excited to get back into the building and get to work. We have a lot of new staff coming on board this year. And so I know that the students will be really excited to see these new faces. And I know that our staff and our district as a whole will be excited to see these new faces. I personally am just grateful for our administration and the work that they're doing behind the scenes, regardless of what the rest of our staff may do with their summers or not. Our administration continues to work throughout the year, continues to provide us with updates, continues to maintain our facilities, run our district. And so we really do appreciate them and the work that they do behind the scenes. I also wanted to make mention that we're truly excited for this upcoming fall because a lot of our projects will be coming to fruition, including our lights that we've talked about for so long and things like that. You'll start to see a lot of things come into play as we move into the fall. So enjoy the rest of the summer. It will be gone fast. Dr. English.
Thank you, Mr. Paris, and thanks for the kind words. Appreciate that. We are working hard behind the scenes in the summer. I think people think that, we don't do a lot in the summer, when in fact, for the administration, it's the busiest time of the year. We're scheduling and putting things out to the community and getting our buildings ready for the upcoming school year. We recently just had an administrative meeting, and I told them, the same thing I'm going to tell you. I've never been more excited of a school year than this upcoming year. Not only do we have lights, and we get to talk about potential projects that are going to benefit kids, which is really exciting. Our data looks really great. We're just finishing up the Reporter, which is the community newsletter. I'm really proud of it, and we have so much to celebrate, and the incoming staff is excellent. We have one of our incoming staff sitting right back here, our computer science teacher, but we have dynamite new staff, and I've never been more excited going into the school year. It's going to be a great, great school year. And like I said, when you read the Reporter, you'll see why. But hopefully everyone's having a good summer. Can't wait for the students to come back. It's a little early. I don't want to freak anybody out, but we get excited for the start of the school year. I know you're probably not excited, Sophia. I don't want to freak you out, Sophia, but we're excited for the upcoming school year, so thank you. 4. Yeah, but thank you.
Like I mentioned earlier, we'll skip over this hearing of the citizens that's listed, and we'll have our last one at the end. But we will start with our motions for approval under Finance, Capital, and Miscellaneous. Mr. Kennard, take it away. If you are able.
Trying to get off mute. Okay, let me get back to this. So, okay, this is structured a little bit different on the page.
Are we supposed to do another hearing of citizens at the beginning of that? Sorry to interrupt. Antonio? Are we supposed to do hearing of citizens though again at the beginning of this, or do we should be doing one at the end? That's it?
So we're just going to just do the one at the beginning of the meeting and then the one at the end.
Okay,
Because
sorry.
it's combined.
Got it, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, no worries. So this is for the approval of business and finance items, capital and miscellaneous. A, change order for K&K Mechanical for $781.84. Draw Collective for capital constructive administration for $12,699.47. Draw Collective for junior senior high school additions for $30,000 even. Pay app number 1 for Merit Electric in the amount of $34,650, and a capital purchase for signage for Riverside Park and I guess for the cafeteria for $12,193.77. So, motion for discussion.
Before that motion is made, I actually have another motion to add in the approval of Draw Collective to complete the schematic design phase with the approximate cost of $93,000 and an initial cost of $30,000 upfront.
Isn't that what the 30,000 is listed
Yeah.
here?
It is.
It is, but that's approving the invoice. That's not approving the next phase.
Additional
So
expense.
when we discussed this last month, we discussed that we would have a specific item wherein we would approve each phase of the project. So just complying with that
This is for future,
discussion.
the next, okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So it'll just be to approve Draw to actually complete the schematic design phase with the approximate cost of $93,000. You're approving the $30,000 now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
just the same number, so that's why I wasn't following it first.
You know,
Okay.
you were correct. Okay, so I've now made that motion. Is there a second to that motion to add this?
Siri, I'll add that, I'll second that.
Okay. And then all those in favor of adding this as 18F, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. And all those who abstain. Okay. Mr. Kennard, when you do this, I would ask that now that this is technically on the agenda, I would ask that F be voted on separately, so pulled out.
Okay.
Okay, so we would just be asking for a motion for A through E.
Okay. Well, move to discuss first, though.
So can we edit
I'll
item
make that
E?
motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll make that motion.
I jumped to the comments. For item E, can we just clarify?
I'm gonna second.
Go ahead, I'll second it.
Thank you.
Apologies.
You're welcome.
Continue. You're good.
This is a confusing
She's
meeting.
got this on her brain. She needs to get it out.
No, I was just, because you said it, but it's not written in the agenda, to say that the signage update is for the new cafeteria as well as Riverside Park. Just because part of that is our building and part of that is a property we rent. And I know it's going on our scoreboard, but you know what I mean? Like they're two different things, even though it's all signage. So just to reword that. 'Cause it's total one amount to one vendor, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So signage update to Riverside Park,
It's not to Riverside Park either, I guess. It's to our scoreboard.
to Riverside Park
And-
scoreboard? Would that
Or
be
is it
better?
scoreboard as well as the? On the field, okay. I guess just more specificity to say like what it's towards. Yeah, and the cafeteria, because the interior of the cafeteria is obviously like our building forever, you know, versus like the park items are
Yeah.
borough property essentially, so.
It's a friendly amendment, so is there, I guess let's clarify the language, and then as long as there's no opposition, then we'll agree to add it on. Okay, so signage update, Riverside Park / scoreboard and RHS cafeteria? In the amount of, is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any objections to that being added to the agenda or rephrased in the agenda? Seeing none. Okay. Okay. Any other discussion?
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Kennard.
You're good. All right. So if there's no discussion, motion to approve A through E only with the revised wording of Riverside Park / scoreboard and cafeteria for item E.
Siri, so
Motion
moved.
Oh, thank you.
Japaro, second.
Okay. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And all those who abstain. All right, ayes pass. And then for the approval of business and finance items, letter F, the approval of Draw Collective in the amount of $93,000 for, I'm sorry, Antonio, what was the full description?
The approval of Draw Collective to complete the schematic design phase with an approximate cost of $93,000 and an initial cost of $30,000.
Schematic design phase, okay. All right. Motion for discussion.
Chaparro, so moved.
Oh yeah. Here a second.
Wait, I just,
All right, any discussion on the $93,000?
let's make sure I'm super
Yeah.
clear. F is stating $93,000, which is what we have here in the July phase 1.
Yes.
C is 30 of that 93,000.
Correct.
Correct.
That's the
Wouldn't we be saying that F should be 63,000? Or language to ensure that it's,
F is F is the approximate cost of the total. We just approved an invoice for $30,000.
yeah,
But we have not approved
I
the
got it.
actual phase of the project.
so what's the language for F? Since we,
The
yeah.
approval of Draw Collective to complete the schematic design phase. It
Got
will
it.
have the approximate cost of 93 with the initial cost of 30,000 in there as well as
Okay.
an additive description, but take out the approximate 93 part in the initial 30,000.
Yeah, no, I
It's
got it.
really
So one's an invoice and one's the project.
correct.
Yeah, I'm just, yeah,
Invoice and then 3 parts to the next phase.
yeah.
Correct.
No, I'm all clear on there and just, okay, yeah, just a language thing for me more than anything.
It was confusing at first,
Yeah.
because it was the same amount essentially, so it's.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a good point because if we're confused about it, the public will be as well. I think that we should also just make it known, though, that just as Mr. Ingen said earlier, because I agree with one of the public comments about is there a possibility that those monies could be used for other projects and stuff like that. However, I will say that this one does seem to be at least one of the phases that is a no-brainer to pass because of what's included in this phase. So again, it's mechanical engineering final scope, electrical engineering final scope, civil engineering, stormwater design, and the geotechnical investigation. Again, that's good for us to know for the property as a whole. So it's not work that, is obscure or that we shouldn't be doing. But there are other phases where we may want to have a deeper conversation as to where that money that's being allocated for that next phase could go. But I think that this current phase is absolutely essential just to know for our properties in general.
Just one more question about the proposal for August. I know there's dollars that are waiting to be populated. And then in September, there's a final draw for the design development phase of 124. Antonio asked earlier if the 93 was included in a capital sort of budget. I think the answer was yes. Is the monies for the August and September work also included? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so this was,
Yeah.
and this goes back to the roughly Mr. Ingen said, $500,000 to look into this second piece of the phase of the project, and that's what that would include.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Covering what, like 300,000 to 400,000 or something in the first 3 months.
Right.
As is, regardless of what form we continue in.
Yep.
Right.
Before you vote on the
this technically, since we've added it and it wasn't part of the first meeting as a motion, we should have opened it up for public comment on this issue. The Sunshine Act requires us to take public comment before you take action on something. And it wasn't on the original agenda from the study session.
But seeing as we have a hearing of the citizens at the end of our meeting and we're only required to have one, doesn't that also?
Well, you have to take the public comment before you vote on it. And it wasn't on the study session agenda, so you have to accept comment.
Right, so we.
I got you.
Probably should have had 3 public hearings, one in between and then a final.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered. We had to make the vote once we got to this point,
Right,
so.
you have to have public comment on something that is up for vote
But it wouldn't have been on the agenda until then.
until we motion for it.
Yeah, so. Okay, so then, I move to table 18F and
Well, you can
open up to public comment at this time, or a hearing of the citizens at this time. Do I have a second?
Siri, so moved.
Thank you. Is there, okay, perfect. All those in favor of tabling 18F and opening up a hearing of the citizens at this time, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. And all those who abstain. Okay, ayes have it. For this hearing of the citizens, it will be related to work that is done, or, sorry, it'll be related to agenda topics only. Again, you may come up to the microphone at this time. Please state your name, your address, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Please also keep in mind that the board does not typically respond to public comments. However, we usually take them in for feedback and consideration for future governance. Please also keep in mind that all meetings are recorded, and so will be your public comments. If there is anyone wishing to make a voice at this this hearing of the citizens, please come up at this time.
Make it short and sweet. That's on, okay. Real quick. Les Leisure, 307 Canterbury Court. Have you given any consideration to Creekside for soccer practice? I know that's heavy activity on the weekends, but during the week, those fields are vacated often in the afternoon and in the early evening. Now, there's restrooms, there's shelter, parking is so close, if there was inclement weather, you can get to your car real quick. And we have a system down there that notifies you well in advance if there's lightning pending, okay? So I don't know, maybe you could consider that and work it out with the other soccer, programs that are there. It's ideal, it's well maintained, so give that some thought. And the only thing I'll mention is, I've been to some track meets where there were no restrooms, no shelter. We hiked through the woods to get to a remote area, and I thought, this is crazy. But that's essentially, you're looking at almost apples and apples, in a sense, compared to William McKinley. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Les.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to be heard at this time? Going once, going twice, sold. Alrighty. I now will motion to take from the table 18F, which is the approval of Draw Collective to complete the schematic design phase. Is there a second to my motion?
Schutz, so moved.
Thank you. All those in favor of taking 18F from the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed and all those who abstain, ayes have it. We will now discuss 18F.
So, is there more discussion? We were in discussion.
Well, we can, if you can call for a vote if you would like, if there's no other discussion.
Yeah. Motion to approve 18F, Draw Collective completing the schematic design phase in the amount of approximately $93,000, of which we've already approved $30,000. Can I get a motion for a vote?
You say all those in favor? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
just
calling?
say all those in favor.
Yeah.
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? And all those abstaining? Okay, the ayes have it.
Perfect.
Going forward to number 19. Antonio, what do we want to do about 19 here?
I'd like to pull out 19A.
Yeah, pull out.
We're not going to
Yeah.
vote on item A, are we?
Pull out 19A, and then we'll,
Okay.
or do you just want to table it?
Just pull it out initially, and then we can decide if we want to table or
Okay.
not.
Yeah, just read them separately if you could.
Okay, so we'll start with the approval of business finance items, contracts, and agreements for finance items, starting with B, the addendum to the current Huckstein contract for year 4 and 5, and additional coil cleaning and servicing of air compressors per the terms listed, year 3, 4, and 5, in the amounts of $18,990.11, $19,599.81, and $20,146.61 respectively. Motion for discussion.
Motion for discussion on 19A first.
Oh, 19, you want to do 19A? Okay.
When you pull them out, and this is for all board members when we get to your sections, and sorry, this is like crash by, or learning trial by error kind of thing. When we get to your section, if we pull something out, you'll ask for a motion on what was pulled out in the sequential order that it happens. So if B was actually A, you would start with B and then do A, but yeah.
Okay, so motion to discuss 19A, the agreement with Mid-County Soccer Field.
Perfect. I will make that motion at this time.
Schutz second.
Okay, perfect. So I think we're probably all in agreement that we should not be voting on this tonight, given what we discussed in the study session. I'm not comfortable moving forward.
When does the contract technically end?
The current.
The current, I mean, like what we have currently?
Last year.
Like, is there a date on it as to when it concludes? Like, is it end of summer, or is it one?
The contract runs August through the end of October. So the last contract ended last October.
Okay, so we don't have it like through the summer until
We don't.
Okay.
Here's my thoughts on it. In lawyer talk, I would say that I almost would rather it be ambiguous, and our solicitor can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would almost rather it be ambiguous and go back to negotiate the terms of the contract and get that solidified after the fact. Because if something were to happen in the interim where there's no contract, then it puts us in a weird gray area where multiple entities could be subject to liability versus right now, where if we voted on this contract, it'd still be the exact same gray area that we would be facing in. I don't know if McKinley would be willing to allow us to use the facilities while we negotiate that contract or not.
I'm not in favor of using the facility at all, unless they're willing to meet standards. That's it.
Yeah, I guess that was what I was getting at in terms of the dates of like, are we still allowed to use it if we wanted to through the summer, or something like that, or till the school year begins, while we're trying to get them to sign an actual contract with terms and conditions.
It's public property, right?
No.
No. Okay.
It's gated, but it's open.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we're supposed to be the only ones who are using it August to October, and that's not the case.
Which is not the
Right.
case.
It's not the case.
Yeah.
So there's my other point. If someone else who's not with the school is on that property when it's in our contracted time, and
Yeah.
something happens, who's liable? If the gate's open and it's supposed to be when we're in there, and it's not one of our kids, it's not someone from the district, what happens?
It also shouldn't be on our coaches to have, or coaches or volunteer parents or whoever, to have to like kick somebody off the field when it's like our time to be using it. It's
Right.
just, there's no rules or,
There's no indemnification
yeah.
here.
it's
And we
just-
also don't know if they're insured, I guess is another tidbit of that.
like, I hate to not be able to use it even for the basic thing that it can be used for, you know, at all, but at the same time, it's something I feel like we've kicked down the road for too long to try to get some parameters around, and we've tried to be nice about like, well, okay, well, we'll work with you, you know, and it's only gotten worse, I think.
We had the same discussion literally last year.
Yeah, oh yeah, we talk about it often enough.
Very
Said
heated,
it.
a very
Rock and a
heated
hard
one, by
place.
the way.
Yep.
That's why I haven't,
Absolutely.
kicking
That's why
that
we
can
haven't
down
been
the
able
road.
to like
Yeah,
get any
we'll be kicking the
resolution.
can down the road in 10 days. 'Cause that's when this is supposed to start, 8/1.
Yeah.
Then I think in 10 days, we need to figure out a solution.
Well, and also what can happen, right, is we do have a meeting August 3rd. So theoretically, if we had to advertise that as a portion of it to be voting, we could vote on that one piece. And/or, and I absolutely hate this, so me throwing this out there is big, but it could also be something that's retroactively approved once there is an actual contract that our solicitor comes back to the board and says, I feel comfortable suggesting to the board that to sign this, right? That he's looked over and that he agrees to.
And one other point of clarification, we do have a certificate of liability from them, and they have a certificate of liability from us, just
But
as
it just doesn't.
I totally get what you're saying, I
You're good,
I
you're
wanted
good.
to, for the public record,
It just
to,
doesn't
for
outline
people to
any
understand that.
specifics.
That's a
That's the
good thing.
trouble.
It just,
Yeah.
yeah, we just don't know who's indemnified where and
Yeah,
what
totally.
and who covers what, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will work on it.
So,
So we could table it to the August 3rd meeting while we can possibly get some more details around it, and then if we had to approve it as is, while we're still working on more clarification, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a solution.
I mean, because the solution, it could easily be, at least in writing, right? The Penn Hills Borough and/or McKinley, William, whatever center, recreational center or whatever, coming back and putting at least in writing that they agreed to indemnify the district when we're not using it during our scheduled uses and/or X, Y, and Z, right? Like, there's specific terms that we're looking to see outlined, and if at least if you put them in writing up front, we're agreeing to this, even if it's just agreed to in an email format, that is still a
And
valid.
I do agree that we
paper
need to
format.
get Penn Hills involved to, like, from a
Yeah.
maintenance perspective, because we expect the same from our borough, right? We don't own the field that we play on all the time, but if there's an issue, we call the Oakmont Borough maintenance folks, right? To like remedy something. It would be the same situation there. We wouldn't be calling McKinley Center, we'd be calling a Penn Hills maintenance person or something to like come and address an issue, right?
Yeah.
So we should be able to put that on the contract to say that's who's responsible.
I also want to ensure that there's a plan B.
Yeah.
If they say we're not going to do this, I don't think it's fair to leave our 3 soccer teams high and dry to say, well, we couldn't figure this out for this, so you'll just have to, pun intended, punt
Yeah.
and see where you can go. Like, what's the plan? I know there have to be plans. There's plans in place for when the field's going to be offline and teams have to go places. That's fine, but we're making those arrangements. This is another scenario. We have to have a different plan that at some point, we can't keep saying, yeah, this is fine. I understand it's a nice agreement, but again, as a human being, I wouldn't sign that if it was something to do with my own home. Why would I sign it for, 150 kids or however many kids are involved in soccer? Why would I say it's okay for them, though? It's fine. You don't need a bathroom. You don't need somewhere safe to go. We don't even have access to the building. If something happens, the kids can't go inside. So you're literally just standing there in the middle of the field going, well,
It's also a trickle-down effect, unfortunately, with the feeder program that feeds our school athletes. Like, Twinboro uses Creekside heavily, but then junior high uses McKinley. Like there's this trade-off of like, oh, well, if you're here at this time, then we'll be here at this time. There's always shuffling
The
that has to
scheduling
occur, between all the different teams, and varsity soccer coordinating with football, and there's too many puzzle pieces that have to line up. So unfortunately, when you take one field out of the mix, that's going to affect everybody else.
Even if you don't take that field out of the mix, there's still not enough options.
No, there isn't.
Right, so I think the point Aaron's making about option B, it's gonna take some time, but there should be a discussion about some type of plan. Because look, even with McKinley, it's not an ideal soccer situation. I actually think the field is a little smaller than a regulation field
Probably
in the first
is,
place.
yeah.
And it's on a slope. So
Can we, sorry, I don't want to cut everyone off because I think it's all good points, but so, marching orders then, Dr. English, if we could, if you, Sheila, and Falco could work with, the William McKinley Center and or Penn Hills Borough just to start discussions of, a contract, and then if we could ask, Mr. Carter, I'm assuming, because he's a part of administration, that he's working over the summer as well, if he could at least provide us with a feasible update for the first couple weeks of August, as to what a alternative plan would be, which that would probably, he would probably need to talk to other coaches, and things like that. I think that would be best, because we do need, I agree with, Aaron, we need a plan, at least for a couple of weeks. And so.
That might need to include some indoor facilities that are nearby for alternatives. So you've got,
Agreed.
you've got the facility up across from Veltries and New Ken, Plum, whatever you want to call it. It's an indoor facility, but like that's a place I know people rent. We've used no off season, although I know no off season's probably expensive and always very booked. But there are other places around. I know the girls' soccer team for a while was using Valley's Field sometimes to practice on for playoffs because they have turf and they're more available and they're not too far away. I mean, I know these are requiring transportation, but it is what it is. Like, I don't know.
I would say cost neutral effect or ideas first, as in like reorganizing practice times on our currently contracted
Yeah.
fields first, and then those be our second options, because that's a heavy feat for the rest of the administration that then has to reorganize a budget to factor in transportation.
Yeah,
and
but
cost
those
of
are the backup
facilities.
plans, I feel
Well,
like.
yeah.
And they
On-
require transportation, I realize, but it also requires parents to drive to McKinley and Creekside, just as well as you have to drive to New Ken or Plum or
Yeah.
wherever.
And if we have to pivot to a paid option, would we be able to use other funds? Like
We would be pulling
reserve-
from somewhere else in the budget. That's why I'm saying.
Right. Well,
if
that's
we
why
could
I'm asking.
Try cost neutral effect or options. We didn't improve a surplus budget over what
Right.
was,
No, yeah, I just wanna make sure we're all
bottom
clear
line,
about
so-
what,
It's a facilities issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or we would have to pull from reserves. So it,
right. Which,
so we want to
Even if
try
it's
cost
temporarily,
neutral.
but
Right.
still.
Yeah.
which I'm fine with that, because
Well, if
I
it's
would
the
rather
safety of
you
our
all
students,
be
yeah.
able to do the work that you need to do to make this right, or us to say, we're done, it's over, and then we have to grapple with the outcome of that.
That's what rainy day funds are for. So.
Absolutely.
But is that okay with everyone going forward? Okay. So, Mr. Kennard, if you would like to make a motion to table 19A until our August 3rd meeting, with projected updates in between there. Yeah.
Motion to table 19A until the August 3rd.
Oh, yes, sorry. I'll second that. Or I'll make, no, you made the motion, I'll second it, sorry.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? And all those who abstain? All right. Item tabled. So moving on to 19B, the addendum to the current Huckstein contract for years 4 and 5 as listed. Move to discuss.
Paris, so move.
So it's second.
Any discussion on the extension of the contract for coil cleaning and air compressor servicing?
This is such a dumb question, but was this in the study session? Because when we went through the two things. We went through McKinley and then we went through the computers. Computers isn't on this portion.
Yeah, I was
I don't
wondering about
remember
that.
this.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but.
No, you're not.
People probably think I.
Absolutely right. That was completely missed.
Yeah, I don't see it on item 6, if that's where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, so the iPads aren't on here.
I mean, it's okay. Some things aren't always going to be on the study session that are on the voting, and I would like to give
Well, it's a brand new.
Rainey
just
a
didn't-
little bit
It's a
of.
brand new
Yeah,
document.
I just
Yeah.
didn't know what to look at, because I didn't go through this, and I
I
didn't
was
see
wondering
these,
about the iPads.
this on here, but
I do believe that it's on, line.
Yeah, it's 6A and B were McKinley and then the iPads, and so then this item would be
See,
McKinley, iPads, and this item, so it'd be 3 items, right?
Oh, that,
is
Yes.
this item for the 3 years for Huckstein in here?
No,
It's not in the paper
the
copy.
Huckestein
got
was
it.
not in the
Ah, okay.
agenda setting, but it was on the voting,
So you've already taken public comment,
and we did,
Yeah.
so you can vote on it. But
Yeah.
you're gonna have to add the iPads,
let's see.
and that back up for public comment, because it wasn't on this agenda.
the iPads,
No, the other
It
one.
was in the study
Yeah, the
session,
iPads were on this
but this is a voting meeting, so you'd have to.
or,
I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers.
Oh,
No, you're
no,
fine.
I mean, it's a procedural.
We apologize.
I-
I mean, we just switched over to this new thing, so there's gonna be some unfortunate
it's-
growing pains with the new system. I apologize.
Hey, we all realized it.
I moved,
Let's give ourselves some credit here.
vote on the Huckestein because it doesn't take effect until October, and just read this Part B as the iPads, and carry forward.
okay, so I moved to table, well, it's listed, so it has to be disposed of in some way, shape, or form, whether we table it or something, we have to, yeah, it has to be dealt with. So I move to table item 19B, addendum to the current Huckestein contract for year 4 and 5 extension and additional coil cleaning and the servicing of the air compressor per the terms listed below as listed. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion or no? Okay.
Are we tabling to August 3rd?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor of tabling 19B to our August 3rd study session, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? And all those who abstain? Ayes have it. Sorry, Chris, I just took over. Introduce the Apple Inc. education price quote as 19C.
All right. Do I have to make a motion to add that?
Yes, you'll have to make a motion to add that, and then you will have to ask, once that's voted on, you'll have to ask for a motion for discussion.
Okay, so motion to add to number 19C, a proposal for iPads, 3-year lease and lease-to-own option.
Make that motion, Jacobs.
Schutz, second.
Okay, call for a vote on that,
Okay,
Discussion,
so
right?
all in favor
or just,
to add
we're just
19C?
adding it to the
Sorry.
agenda, yeah.
All in favor adding 19C?
Aye.
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 Okay, all opposed? And all that abstain. Okay. Motion to discuss 19C.
I'll make that motion, Paris.
Schutz, second.
Okay, any discussion on the iPads?
Are computers considered capital?
Mm-mm.
No, yeah, yeah.
They are not, because literally 3 months, maybe 2 days after we buy them, they're out of date and there are new ones to replace them.
Do you amortize the computers?
They're placed on our asset list, so yes, they are amortized, but they are not their life expectancy is not that of a capital purchase.
And they're not deemed a permanent fixture
Yeah.
almost. So like our bookshelves could be almost a capital purchase, but the books on our bookshelf would not be.
No, I get it. There are different definitions of
forever.
how
Yeah.
entities define capital, and I just wanted to better understand that.
Yeah, these are considered a supply.
Okay, got it.
There's no tax advantage for a school system to depreciate these.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Education expense.
And we're,
Supplies.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
perfect.
Look,
Yeah.
if I
and
could
we're
get,
leasing, and this amount is over 3 years. So
Mhm.
we're not paying the 114
Yeah,
tomorrow or whatever.
listen, if I could get Apple Care
that's
Plus
a payment schedule.
for my
though,
iPad for 3 years
Yeah.
at only $49 for all 3 years, I like these school prices, I'm just saying.
Well, the best deal you got was on the Apple Care.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah,
Apple
that
Care
was
is,
your best deal.
yeah.
I was wondering about the Apple Care. So after the first 3 years, will it move up to the $50 per year per device? Which is usually their standard rate? Or is there a plan to get newer devices at that time? I'm just wondering what the plan.
Miss Getz, are you still on the meeting?
She looks like she's there.
I see her face, but I don't.
Miss Getz, if you're still here, unmute and talk to us about Apple Care.
You again.
What was the question again?
Like after the 3 years, what happens to the Apple Care?
Yeah.
When these are leased to own, so.
Yeah, there's a buyback, so I don't think we keep them after the 3 years.
Okay,
And I think that,
thank you.
and Ms. Getz can correct me if I'm wrong, at our August meeting too, but typically you can also extend it, but it's usually year to year, after the fact. So we would probably just buy new equipment after that.
Upgrade.
'Cause an upgrade, because I think that these are going to our kindergarten and first.
K through 2.
K through 2, so they're going to fizzle out after 3 years anyway, because by the time they get to third grade, they'll get Chromebooks.
I can provide some information to you. Miss Getz isn't feeling well this evening.
Miss
so-
Getz is 3 minutes behind. I did too, yeah.
Oh, she's 3 minutes behind.
I just asked her via text, so.
3 minutes behind is so specific.
Well, it's like when you're in a cathedral and the organ is playing and you're singing in the front, it's like 30 seconds
She
away.
stated that we can sell them back.
Oh,
Okay.
We sell them back and get a new bunch.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you.
Trade-in program.
Move to vote for, if discussion's over, move to vote for 19C, the Apple iPads 3-year lease and lease to own agreement.
We already have parents and
Yep.
Harrison Schutz.
Siri, so moved.
Nope, we
All
already,
in favor?
Yeah, we already had the motion.
Oh,
we
sorry.
already had the motion. You'll just call for the vote now.
Okay.
Next time we just have 2 meetings in July. We'll
I
be
know,
much
it's-
easier. Not that
You're
everybody
good.
wants to have 2
We
meetings
just
in
won't
the
have
summer.
meetings in July, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
good, Chris, you can call
Well,
for the
that
vote.
almost never happens.
But you said last year. no-
Aye.
Aye.
Like one time in my 8 years, 7 years.
Not this.
Perfect, okay.
I did want to add one more note about the iPad, in terms of like the headphone jack, or if they would have to be, Bluetooth. I think like that would have to be communicated to parents, because I know Apple tends to have something different than other devices.
Oh, she's talking
So
about
they might have
the
this-
dongle versus an actual headphone jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask email Miss Getz. I would ask that, and then ask her to reply all to the board. Don't send it to the entire board. Email Ms. Getz individually that question, and then ask her to reply to the entire board. Does that make sense? She can reply, you can't.
It
Okay.
depends on what version of iPad and what kind of an input-output they have, probably.
They're all the USBCs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had to all switch to USB.
So they don't have a wired headphone option.
No, it has to, unless it's a C port,
Exactly.
which you can buy an adapter, because I have all the adapters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our next item is motions for approval under personnel. I will.
I have an answer.
Oh, perfect.
They can do both.
Period. Love to hear it.
Awesome.
Love to hear it.
You know those first graders have Bluetooth figured out, so.
This is Bluetooth and corded. is what
Right.
it is.
Okay.
But they have to connect to the USB-C cord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just said they could too.
Okay. Motions for approval under personnel. There are 6 items here for approval tonight. I'm going to state it as listed, except for our one new hire that is here this evening. Is that B?
No.
No.
Just here,
Oh.
listen in.
Oh.
We already
Lies.
approved it.
We approved you already. So I am going to state it as listed. Do I have any motions at this time? I know.
Siri,
Fake.
I'll make that motion.
I'm making fake news out here. Perfect. Is there a second?
Schutz, second.
Thank you, thank you. Is there any discussion on our new hires?
Thank you.
Yes, and
Grateful for them.
thank you to them, and thank you to our administration for moving this process along. 7 people is a lot to hire on top of other positions that the district normally has to fill, like paras and custodial staff, tech, etc. So, thank you guys. Any other comments? Going once, twice, sold. All those in favor of the personnel, items A through F, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying nay. And all those who abstain. Okay, ayes have it. Motions for approval under personnel, under also athletics. Items A through C as listed, highlighting our new position for the assistant golf coach, and an athletic volunteer and club supplemental positions as attached. Do I have a motion at this time?
Chaparro, so moved.
Perfect. Is there any discussion? Thank you to Mr. Tyler. I'm sorry, I'm not going to try your last name because I don't want to butcher it. But thank you for your contribution to our junior high football team.
Can I ask a question
do
about-
appreciate that.
Sorry. Can I ask a question about B?
Yeah,
Yeah.
was wondering where those
As-
are listed.
As attached, and I'm just curious, dollar amounts and all of that sort. Athletic, non-contracted, volunteer, club supplemental positions. Additionally, all coaches as event workers pending required clearances.
These are our annual, positions.
Oh, they're not new
Yeah.
positions.
They're not new positions.
renewed.
They're our renewed annual positions,
But are they
department.
listed in this packet?
They should be.
They're not.
I don't think they
Not.
are.
That's what I
not be.
mean, I knew that they weren't like new dollars, but I didn't know who, like, usually there's a
There's
list
no
anyway.
names.
Names or like titles or whatever.
Yeah, it's not here. It
So-
should be around page 222.
Okay. So, I move to table item 21B until our August 3rd meeting. Do I have a motion, or do I have a second to that motion at this time?
Siri, so moved.
Thank you. Is there any discussion of that?
Is there any issue though with doing so in terms of them getting started on anything? I don't wanna like hold up the process. I just wanted to know like the names or
Uh,
who was doing what, that's all.
Is this
But-
on the online online version somewhere that someone, can
I
we pull
don't
it up
see it.
somewhere?
It is.
Rainey
don't see it.
And Rainey has access to the.
I,
I just
Well,
can't
we
click on
all
the
have
attachments.
access to it.
Let me
I
look.
was
So
not
can
making
I-
sense of online.
Can I make a friendly amendment to my motion?
Sure.
Move to table 21B to our August 3rd meeting, with the caveat that administration can move forward with these people in the meantime, pending that they meet all certification and clearance requirements. Does that work for the board?
Siri, second.
Okay. All those in favor of, again, tabling 21B to August 3rd, administration can move forward with the hires pending that they meet all required clearances and certification requirements. Signify by saying aye, sorry.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And all those who abstain? Okay, ayes have it. Now I will ask for a motion for 21A and C as listed.
Chaparro, so moved.
Thank you.
Should second.
Thank you. Any discussion for those two items? Okay, seeing none, and thank you to, we have our head coach of golf here this evening, Mr. Beal. Thank you for being present and also willing to share the allocated funds for the coaching staff with an assistant coach. Thank you. It's much appreciated. So all those in favor of items 21A and C, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify by saying nay. And all those who abstain, ayes have it. Thank you again, Mr. Beal. Item 22, motion for approval under education. Ms. Metzger, please take it away.
Alright, motion to approve education item 22, Ed Spaces professional meeting request, for $500. Do I have a motion at this time?
Paris, so moved.
Siri, second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
Alright, any discussion?
Nope, you're good to go.
Okay. There being none, all those in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it.
Perfect. Then that takes us to our last hearing of citizens. This will be for all school-related items. Does not have to be specific to any agenda items. So I would ask that if there's any community members that are wishing to speak, that they come up to the microphone. Please state your name and address, and please keep in mind that your comments are not typically responded to by the board, whereas we take them in for consideration in future governance. Please also keep in mind that your comments are limited to 3 minutes and that all board meetings are recorded. Subsequently, your comments would be recorded. At this time, are there any citizens wishing to be heard? Going once, going twice. Sold for $3,000. Alrighty. Seeing none, we will move into our solicitor's report.
We're addressing the issues we discussed in executive session. We're addressing the issues we discussed in executive session earlier tonight, as well as some student residency matters that we'll be resolving. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Muscanti. Is there any questions for our solicitor? Cool. Seeing none, we'll now move into board comments. At this time, is there any board member wishing to make a comment?
Yes, Mr. Paris. I have a legislative report because we have a state budget. Yay. So it was passed on July 12th, so it was 12 days late. But it got done on a Sunday, so good job all involved. So it's House Bill 2400, increases basic ed funding by $58 million, special ed funding by $55 million, Ready to Learn block grant by $565 million, school safety and mental health by $100 million, CTE $10 million, CTE equipment $10 million, public school facility improvements $125 million, solar for schools grant program $25 million, and most importantly, student teacher stipend $40 million, so a $30 million increase. It was $10 million last year, so really important. So obviously they also updated, as they always do, the omnibus school code bill. Lots of changes here. They're hyperlinked in my report. Pre-K counts, standardized testing, on and on and on and on. Lots of bills passed since we last met, June 8th or whatever. Don't get too excited about any of them because they all die when the new session starts. So if nothing happens in August, they all die and they have to start over in September. And that includes, because there is a new Plan Con bill in here. Don't get excited about it. Because every indication that I had from our local legislators was there was not going to be Plan Con or any iteration of it in the future. So there's very little appetite for that. We also did not get any action on the modernization of public meeting notification. So where we don't have to advertise in the paper was kind of the push, where we do it digitally and have more modernized ways to reach the public that don't cost thousands and thousands of dollars in papers that no one reads. And there was, yeah. So there was also a big push to try to hold cyber charters more accountable, particularly for attendance. That's not going anywhere either, unfortunately. It's actually pretty good language that's reasonable, but there doesn't seem to be any appetite for it. So there's a lot of information that's all linked, because this report's 16 pages, so feel free to scroll to the part that is interesting to you, which is what I'm trying to do, get to the meat. So the biliteracy bill that I talked about last month, where you can put on a diploma that a child is bilingual, did pass, was signed by the governor, and immediately has been enacted. So we're kind of now going to have to wait for PDE to tell us how we apply that, and what is that seal and how does that work. So we'll have to wait from them. So the House and the Senate voted on different versions of House Bill 2146, the Sunshine Act revision with 24-hour notification, where they're trying to overturn or make legislation that would make Coleman v. Parkland School District about public meeting and sunshine requests. So the two things that we did tonight, where we amended our agenda, will not be able to happen if these bills pass. So they're not going to the governor yet, but there's a lot of appetite in the legislature to stop us from being able to amend our agendas based on the ground things that are happening for us in meetings and in contract and all other, it will hamstring us as far as our ability to move on things that are urgent.
And then we can't amend the agendas and put them online, because that's not sufficient either.
No, we can't amend agenda. We will not be able to amend agendas in meetings at all. We will have to table it and vote on it after we advertise that information to the public.
The state is mandating this new Keystone online system. Is there not any?
Well, PSBA, that's PSBA. So that's our governing.
If they're making everybody use that system, then to me, okay, well then make everybody advertise online. If it's all online, then why are we doing an agenda online and then putting it in a physical newspaper?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So the other thing that passed the House is House Bill 2455, administrative bargaining in Pittsburgh. So it would make it so that administrators in the city would be able to collectively bargain, which Act 93, I feel like there's like already some space for that across the state. The Senate is not gonna go for this. It also didn't include Philly, so then like the other half of the state is like, we don't care because you didn't include our people. House Bill 2544, administrative compensation. So this is really like putting PDE on notice that we need to put in school code minimum salary requirements for administrators. I think this makes sense. I think that it's doesn't make sense though, because our teacher minimum pay is still $18,500, which was set in like 1965. So, and they've been unwilling to update that in school code. So I find it a little irritating. House Bill 2632, changes to the state educational tax credit program. So this looks like it would really be helpful. I hope the Senate does look at this. It's based upon an independent fiscal office 2022 report on the educational tax credit program. It has the possibility to help seniors and people on fixed incomes get more of a credit back through the state. And then the Plan Con bill, House Bill 2633, is just a reform of former Plan Con. Let's see what else. Oh, our favorite Senate Bill 835, MIA flag displayed in schools, passed the Senate. It was what we were all looking for. Well, it did change to where reasonably feasible we can fly the MIA flag. Again, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just like, are you going to give us the money to buy the flag? Are you going to help us take it down and put it up every day? Probably not. Well, right, exactly. So the Senate Education Committee has some interesting bills up that I just want to mention. House Bill 681, eliminating BMI. So it would still require the school to collect the data and report it to the state, but we wouldn't give it to the families. But it does create an avenue for families to opt out, so that's a good thing. House Bill 1505, ensuring pre-K count grants for public ed. It allows IUs to qualify for and receive pre-K counts money, grant money, which would be great because they can help facilitate programs in places where maybe there are districts that have a difficult time finding space and staffing for something like that, and the IU can kind of step in and help with that. Senate Bill 366, this I'm very excited about, and I hope that if it doesn't pass this year, that it gets traction next year. Basically makes it so that if kids are on track to graduate from our CTEs early, they can. So they don't have to graduate when they're in 12th grade. If they're done with their programmatic requirements in 10th or 11th grade, then they can take whatever tests are required and be done and go back full time to their home school. So, because why are we having them go if they're good to go and they can get that certification now and work part-time after school? Let's get them out in the workforce. And then the last, this is so strange, Senate Bill 720, student eye examinations, would establish new eye examination requirements for students entering school for the first time. I do think that I helped my old district get a grant to get eye exams in schools. So if this becomes law, I'm going to have to try to find that info again so we can use that. And we'll be hearing from the federal government because they're going to need to do a continuing resolution by the end of September. So if there's any updates on that, I'll let you know. Now I'm done.
Any benefit with the budget being passed that helps us at all?
It's pretty much the same amount of money that we were expecting.
There is an increase in special education funding, not by
Yeah,
a ton, but 50 million.
Yeah, just
So
wondering if, hey, we just talked about dollars for soccer fields, so
on
any dollar amount could help.
the basic, now remember, because the budget's never passed, I don't put any increases in to our basic ed. They tell us we will get more than we got the previous year, but I don't make any changes to that because I don't want to have to go back and say, oh, we have to back out $50,000, and they don't normally give us more than about $40,000 or $50,000 historically over the last few years. In the 426 proposed budget, in our basic ed, they had a 0.57% increase, which was about close to $22,000 in my budget presentation. And special ed was about a 2.9% increase. So all told, that was about $45,000. And looking at the information that was sent out from PASBO and the superintendent's group, we received 0.9% increase in basic ed, which was about $35,000. It's about $13,700. And 3.5% in special ed, which was about $5,000 more. So a little bit more. It looks like $60,000. So, yeah, we'll take it. So, I mean, and in addition to what Ms. Siri said, I know that there were a few line items that they were looking at: new truancy procedures and hearings for schools, additional reporting requirements for facilities and FID, the stronger cybersecurity residency, which I pray for every night because we've become private investigators at this point, and new lead testing response requirements. I apply for and receive a grant semi-annually that does free lead testing for the district, and we remediate anything that's found immediately, but there's a new lead testing response requirements if elevated levels are found. So we have that covered. But I believe that there were a number of increases. The only thing that was the same as in the proposed budget was the CTE equipment grants. And then they also did, which this just recently came out, and I've already started getting emails from vendors for solar for schools grant program. And that, if we can maybe get one of those grants, then that would be, I mean, I know we have solar on this school, but I'd really like to see some solar on 10th Street. So that's kind of, I had a little bit of rundown. If I knew I was going to let you have the spotlight. And
I'm surprised you also didn't cover the cell phone ban. Not moving forward. So it's kind of dead in the water. So we may be starting without that ban, which I think our administration would be okay with because our district already has a cell phone policy. So, yeah.
We have some plans. I'll update the board for the upcoming school year. I think there's 2 bills that they're kind of going back and forth on. I think it's probably coming. We all think it's coming. Yeah, it's coming, that they're putting sort of details from 2 different bills together.
I assume that the recess, the mandatory recess thing that they passed doesn't really affect us because we already offer that for K to 5, so.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's info in my report about it, but
We just won't be able to.
we're already meeting.
Right.
We
We already offer the.
We are going to propose some
standard, so-
changes to the upcoming procedures for cell phones at the high school, though. So
Okay.
we're building that out now
Yeah,
in
regardless of
preparation
what,
for that bill to come out.
even if it doesn't end up passing.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it will pass next session, but right now what's happening is people are advocating for carve-outs and
Revisions.
special circumstances, and
Medical.
they're probably also, I mean, it's gonna end up going in IEPs is part of the challenge.
Yeah.
Because like you have kids who have glucose meters that
those
are,
for things, yeah.
there's lots of different
Yeah.
circumstances that, and this has happened in other states, so people are also bringing them back information
Yeah, for sure.
from those other states. Like Virginia has a ban, it doesn't make any
Minnesota
difference
has
at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
There'll be some revisions that you'll probably see in August.
Okay.
Yes, a whole bunch of them.
Thanks for all the info, Bridget. Too bad all the things they do in June die in August and we start all over again.
Hey, thanks for your patience, everyone, with the agendas and things like that. It will get better as we go, I promise. No. Short. Okay.
Are there, are there any other board comments that aren't going to raise our superintendent's blood pressure? Seeing none. Alrighty. I'll now call for a motion to adjourn.
Siri, so moved.
Schutz, second.
Thank you. Really quickly, I take it back just really quick. We did have an executive session this evening before the meeting started at 6:30 p.m. in the library conference. Okay, now I will take a motion to adjourn.
Schutz.
All those in favor? Aye. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.